Hi everyone, welcome back to SimplyThinking. Today I want to talk about addiction, more specifically porn addiction, and why does it affect so many people, but we don't talk about it. Um, it's an interesting topic because it it really goes hand in hand with any sort of addiction: alcohol, tobacco, drugs in general, um, too much exercise, too much eating, too much not doing anything, too much anything that you're doing excessively that leads to an addiction, right? Almost like kind of muscle memory, automatic. I won't get too much into the specifics, the science behind it. I think there's so many videos and audios out there that explains the biological levels of addiction in your brain in terms of dopamine release, how that affects your reward system, how that basically increases your not increases, it affects your neuroplasticity, right? So it basically forms new pathways in your brain that affect your behavior automatically, and you build up a new tolerance. So the more you consume, the more like what's the word I'm looking for? The more uh, not affected by it you become, and then therefore you need to source more extreme scenes and more extreme content to satisfy that desire, right? So it really is like with everything. Like, the more you do, the more you have to. It becomes automatic. The more you build up the tolerance, either alcohol, tobacco, drugs. Same as with porn, right? Your brain is very what's the word? Looking for those quick, easy wins to make you happy all the time. But I won't. I think there's a YouTube channel called ASAP Science or Minute Physics that explains the biology behind it, and they've animated it. They've done a really good job. So I definitely recommend searching for that. Um, but yeah, it's. I just want to talk more about the taboo, about addiction, and watching porn in general. Um, it all comes down to, like I said, taboo, instant gratification. It's almost the same effect. I'm sure it is of TikTok videos. Every 15 seconds you get a new video, and that keeps your dopamine levels pretty high because it's a new exciting video about dancing, cooking, whatever the topic is that your AI is feeding you. Um, and it's the same like games. When you get like a new coin or a new reward, your brain likes that instant gratification. It gives that feel good sensation, and the more you do it, the better, and the faster you can get it, even better. So that's what causes this sort of addiction. Obviously there's always negative sides with every addiction. You might feel guilt, shame, anxiety of watching porn, consuming porn content, and that would affect your behavior. If you have a partner or you're looking at a partner, and you watch, for prolonged periods of time, a lot of porn, you create a set of unrealistic expectations of what porn and intimacy is really like. And I know, I know that there's a huge discrepancy between men and women and how they perceive intimate relationships and how they watch porn. So there's definitely a disparity there between boys and girls. Um, and it can in a way take over your life. It can affect your work in extreme cases. It consumes a lot of time. Your daily goals, your personal goals can significantly be impacted by the amount of time you spend watching it. And that's not to say that nobody watches it. I watch it. I'm sure my family watches it. Everybody watches a bit of it. Obviously, with time, as you get older and your hormones change, and your life priorities change, it will become less and less of a thing. But obviously, when you're, in your 18, 19, 20 years of age, hormones are, going through the roof at peak levels. It definitely would impact how much you consume of porn content. So I think it's really, yeah, I think most of the addiction comes from the desires that we talked about in previous videos, that society creates. This illusion, this fabricated in terms of how great is it going to be, how happy am I going to be, my body count, all that kind of stuff, the brag status. It really comes from that, plus a little bit of shame and, you know, um, like just, let's do this hidden. It's not something that's talked about, it's taboo. Whatever you are in the world, most likely chances are there's some religious views on it, and that creates more of a restriction. And the more you restrict it of something, the more you want it, right? And so that creates the desire, that creates the expectation. You start consuming it, and then you change the way you think about intimacy. You change the way you consume it. You get more extreme with the stuff that you consume. I mean, the stuff that I see online is like, wow, where do we go from the 90s all the way to here? Like, it's just crazy. Um, the positions, just everything that they do is just like, it's crazy. Like, I don't know how they think of these things. I mean, I do. Like I said, is what's next? Let's add comedy to this. What's next? Let's add family members to this. What's next? I don't know. Let's just do something crazy, because we've tried. The traditional things are boring. People are getting tired of it. Let's try something new, and that creates a new addiction. Not an addiction. A new level of consumption. That's unblocked. Um, there are several ways you can fight it. It's like, I remember family members having addictions of cigarettes, and one of my family members, they used to scream every time they had an urge to consume nicotine. Just like everybody would laugh, they would get a fright, and then they would just like, okay, move on. But obviously, with every addiction, there's an underlying problem behind it, right? It's most likely driven by stress that you are experiencing, change in hormones, or desires that you consume on social media platforms. If it's stress, you need to find what's causing you to have that stress: a new job, a new responsibility in your life, exams that you're revising for, a new relationship, traveling, a trip that's coming up, a job interview, whatever it might be. You need to think, what is a good, healthy habit that I can exchange instead of consuming porn or doing drugs or doing tobacco and alcohol. What can I replace it with? Going for a walk in the park, calling with my best friend, eating a carrot, drinking a glass of water, whatever it may be. It will be hard at the beginning, but over time, I think you have to do something 17 times before it becomes a habit, right? Or something like that. Don't quote me on anything, any facts that I say. Do not quote me. I could be wrong, or could be misspreading information. So if I say something, make sure you double check on the internet to make sure that there's some sort of research behind it. Yeah, but just replace it with a healthy habit. It might be eating something that's healthy, drinking something that's healthy, doing an exercise. I knew a guy at university that every time he wanted to drink alcohol, he would drop to the floor and do 10 push-ups. I've checked this guy. Yes, I'm old. I checked him on Facebook. The guy's ripped. He's changed his life around. Like, it's just crazy how fit he is now. And I'm like, see, that's the kind of person I would like to be. Changing the bad habits that I have with good habits that over a long period of time would get me in a better place. So definitely, when people say seek professional help, I think it will be that's a really big barrier, because most people won't go to a doctor, a therapist, or a psychologist and say, "Hey, I'm addicted to porn." No, hardly. I know, for example, as a man, you don't talk about this stuff. You don't talk about your feelings. You don't talk about your addictions. You don't talk about your stress. You just keep that in. So when people say seek professional help or advice, it's basically saying, well, you do you. And it's true, you do you. But first start with recognizing that you have a problem, and what is driving you to consume porn. Is it just desire? Is it automatic behavior? Like, you don't think about it anymore. It's just that just comes to you a certain time of the day. Or is it just the taboo that comes with it, and you never got taught about intimacy and sex, and what comes with it. That's the first step. The second step I would recommend is definitely replacing it with something that's healthy. And then, if you can't do it, try to put some sort of limit on exposure or access to pornography. Like, I remember having parental controls on my internet access. I could only use like an hour or 2 hours a day after school, and couldn't go to any pornographic website, but still I managed to find my ways when I was a teenager. But it still put some sort of barriers in it for me to prevent it. I think nowadays your mobile carriers can automatically block porn content on your internet access, which you just try to make it hard for yourself. If you have accounts on any social media platform that somehow shows pornographic content, try to log out. So to log back in, try to change your password so you forget it. Just try and limit. Anywhere you go, there will be some sort of statistical model watching, some algorithm basically tracking how long you spend watching a video, what type of tags were on that video. So is it women, men? Did they have muscles? Do they go to the gym? What clothes were they wearing? What color hair? What color skin they have? There's all sorts of algorithms tracking what you're doing, so they can feed more of that content to you and keep you interested and engaged on the platform, right? That's how they make their money in their business, and that's how you yourself are a commodity, right? They're using you to make money on advertisement. And I'm not saying that's wrong or that's right. I'm just saying that there's their business model, and you just have to limit where there's bad stuff being consumed. Just limit that exposure. And then if you have followed all the steps and you still struggle, then try to build a support system. Talk to your friends if you can, close friends, because this, like I said, is a lot of taboo around it. So you definitely won't talk to your parents, although I definitely talked to my mom about it. She's very open-minded, but no, I recognize that not most people have some sort of open-minded parents, and they might be more traditional or older, and so you don't have that kind of relationship and that communication channel. But you can create different channels and different bridges with other people, friends, random people on the internet that go through the same feelings. And after all the steps, you still aren't able to figure out what's causing it and to stop it or to replace it. Then I'd definitely recommend talking to a professional. But I think talking to a professional, people would say that I don't agree with what I'm about to say, but I think it will be for extreme cases. Like if it's light or automatic levels of porn addiction, replacing it with a healthy habit, trying to basically remove yourself from environments of high stress, and trying to control your anxiety by focusing your mind on something else would definitely help it. And when you feel like this becoming an automatic behavior, try your best to just say, okay, whoa, hold on a second. This is that automatic muscle memory that I need to stop and create a new muscle memory. And that's really important. So you create new pathways in your brain for different things, right? And that's it. That's all I wanted to talk about. My final thoughts are, it's porn addiction is a challenging journey, right? Because it starts very young. It starts at the age of 12, 13, I think, for most people, maybe earlier, depending where you are geographically or the levels you have, the freedoms that you have to access social media platforms. But it's really challenging, and it kind of grows on people because it's a taboo, right? It's a taboo topic that people don't want to talk about. And it kind of just snowballs, because then you create that plasticity in your brain that we talked about. You build new tolerances, you consume more extreme content, and that creates a different level relationship with sex than most people have. And that definitely would have an impact on your life in terms of time. I think first and foremost, time that you spend consuming it is what is impacting your life most likely. And then other than that, it will be diet, intimacy, expectations, but most of it it will be down to time. So if you can curb that addiction and replace it with a healthy habit, you'll be saving a lot of time, or just using your time more effectively doing something else. Like my friend that got ripped every time he wanted to drink alcohol, he would do 10 push-ups. And yeah, like there obviously that there will be setbacks, and it's just a normal part of the process. Everybody struggles with everything that they want to change, everything that they want to set as a new kind of process. There will always relapse, right? There will always be a cheat day. If you go to the gym, you have a cheat day. If you try to stop an addiction, there will be the so-called cheat days where you relapse. But it's all about building that, increasing that time frame of relapse, right? You might relapse after a week, then you try again, maybe a month, then you try again, and before you know it, 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, where you can just have a normal interaction with porn content and sex in general. And I know it's not an easy topic to talk about. And most people might take it out of context. I didn't cover everything, especially on the biological side, on the brain side, but I don't feel like I'm suited for talking about that stuff. I never studied it. I only listened to other podcasts and videos online to see what the effects are on your brain. And it's the same for every addiction. It's just creating that pathways that you don't even think about it, you just do it. And your tolerance levels do increase. So again, just to conclude, if you're out there listening to this and you feel like your life has been impacted by addiction to porn, just remember that you're not alone. There's millions of people consuming porn every day, and some of them are trying to stop, but they themselves are imprisoned to their brain, because your brain can control you if you don't control your brain. And the way you control your brain is just by replacing bad habits with good habits, and trying to, whenever you're about to do something dumb or something that you shouldn't be doing, or you're trying to stop, you just stop yourself and think, oh, I can just delay this by maybe 15 minutes and see if I feel the same way. Chances are you forget about it, or you do something different, and you won't do it. So try to control your brain before it can control you. And I'll leave you with that thought. Thank you for listening. Hopefully you've learned something today. If not, I hope that you can at least reconsider listening to some of the advice I've given in this video. Thank you, everyone. Make sure you like the video and subscribe, because that really helps the channel. Thank you. Bye-bye.